So in honor of Martin Luther King Day today, I have a few remarks and some excerpts of a speech that I want to play for y'all. And I made y'all a video with captions for those of you who are like me, like having captions on your Netflix or something. But, okay. The work of Martin Luther King Jr. is as powerful today as it was 68 years ago when he first made his foray into the civil rights movement by taking part in the Montgomery bus boycotts, where he would emerge as a rising leader in the movement. King would go on to advocate against Jim Crow laws, segregation, violations of voting rights, among various other issues of the time. He would do all of this through the use of peaceful, nonviolent protest and by utilizing his powerful ability to speak to the masses, providing us with speeches that have continued to be timeless and continue to be just as relevant in today's world as they were when he first spoke them into existence. Today, I would like to play you some parts of one of his lesser-known speeches. It is called the Drum Major Instinct. In this speech, King mentions the idea of the drum major instinct, which is essentially a desire that everyone has to be praised, to be great, to lead, to be first. He cites it as one of the causes behind racial prejudice, tensions between classes, and overall issues in life. This instinct can cause an individual to seek to be superior to those around them, and in doing so will cause them to become distorted. Always seeking to be superior to those around them and making sure those around them are inferior. You would think that such an instinct would be one that we would wish to rid ourselves of. Why would we want to have an instinct that puts those around us down? But King instead argues that we should harness it. Here's what he had to say.
You want to be first? You want to be great? You want to be important? You want to be significant? Well, you ought to be. If you're going to be my disciple, you must be. He reordered priorities. And he said, yes, don't give up this instinct. It's a good instinct if you use it right. It's a good instinct if you don't distort it and pervert it. Don't give it up. Keep feeling the need for being important. Keep feeling the need for being first. But I want you to be first in love. I want you to be first in moral excellence. I want you to be first in generosity. That is what I want you to do. And
So, as King said, the drum major instinct, while it can be destructive, can also be progressive and powerful when used correctly. It can be used to help those around you and help address issues of race, economic inequality, justice, and peace. The argument can be made that we live in a world today where the drum major instinct is constantly at work, perhaps even more so than when King gave this sermon in 1968. There was no such thing as social media at the time. We live in a world that is more connected than ever and continues to become even more connected with each passing day. The internet and social media has allowed us to connect to individuals who are a world away and with their creation, this has opened up new opportunities to spread ideas. But, as many of you have seen, it has been used as a way for many to spread ideas of hate and as an opportunity for others to make others feel inferior to themselves. They are using the drum major instinct in a distorted, self-serving way. But we have the opportunity to use our own drum major instinct in a way to serve humanity and achieve greatness. We have the opportunity to help those a world away who are under constant threat of the consequences of war. We have the opportunity to help those suffering from poverty. We have the opportunity to help those in our very own community. Each of you is capable of achieving the greatness that you desire, whether you believe it or not, while serving humanity. We are all capable of creating the change we want to see in this world, and I think Dr. King puts it best in this next clip.
So Jesus gave us a new norm of greatness. If you want to be important, wonderful. If you want to be Recognize wonderful. If you want to be great, wonderful. But recognize that he who is greatest among you shall be your servant. That's a new definition of greatness. This morning, the thing that I like about it, by giving that definition of greatness, it means that everybody can be great. Because everybody can serve. You don't have to have a college degree to serve. You don't have to make your subject and your verb agree to serve. You don't have to know about Plato and Aristotle to serve. You don't have to know Einstein's theory of relativity to serve. You don't have to know the second theory of thermodynamics in physics to serve. You only need a heart full of grace. Soul generated by love. And you can be that servant. Every now and then I get all the risky.
So, in this final clip I want to play for you, King talks about how he would want to be spoken about at his funeral. How he would want to be remembered by the world. So while we listen to this section, I would like to ask that you think about the legacy you would like to leave behind. What kind of mark do you want to leave on the world? What kind of drum major would you like to be remembered as?
Every now and then I get all the risky about that day when we will be victimized with what is life's final common denominator. That's something we call death. We all think about it, and every now and then I think about my own death, and I think about my own funeral, and I don't think of it in a morbid sense. Every now and then I ask myself, what is it that I would want to say, and I leave the word to you this morning. If any of you are around when I have to meet my day, I don't want a long funeral. And if you get somebody to deliver the eulogy, tell them not to talk too much. Every now and then I wonder what I want them to say. Tell them not to mention that I have a Nobel Peace Prize. That isn't important. Tell them not to mention that I have 300 or 400 other awards. That's not important. Tell them not to mention where I went to school. I'd like somebody to mention that day that Martin Luther King Jr. tried to give his life serving others. I'd like for somebody to say that day that Martin Luther King Jr. tried to love somebody. I want you to say that day that I tried to be right on the walk. I want you to be able to say that day that I did try to feed the hungry. I want you to be able to say that day that I did try in my life to call those who were naked. I want you to say on that day that I did try in my life to visit those who were in prison. I want you to say that I tried to love and serve humanity. Yes, if you want to say that I was a drum major, say that I was a drum major for justice. Say that I was a drum major for peace. I was a drum major for righteousness. And all of the other shallow things will not matter. I won't have any money to leave behind. I won't have the fine and luxurious things of life to leave behind. But I just want to leave a committed life behind. And that's all I want to say. If I can help somebody as I pass along, if I can cheer somebody with a wild song, if I can show somebody he's traveling wrong, then my living will not be in vain. If I can do my duty as a Christian, or if I can bring salvation to a world once wrong, if I can spread the message as the Master taught, then my living will not be in vain.
On April 4th, 1968, exactly 2 months following this sermon, Martin Luther King Jr. would be assassinated in Memphis, Tennessee. In the speech he gave the night prior to his death, "I've been to the mountaintop," he says he may not get there with us, but he has seen the promised land and that we as a people will get there. King was not concerned with not being able to see the fruits of his labor, and as he said in the sermon, he was only concerned with being remembered as being someone who strived for justice, as someone who strived for peace, and as someone who simply tried to love and serve humanity. The message I want to leave you with today as we honor the legacy and work of Martin Luther King Jr. is that you can change the world. I lost myself. You do not need to become the next leader of a social movement. You do not need to be someone who is larger than life. Lead the life you want to lead, but be sure to harness your drum major instinct to strive for greatness in a way that will help others. I want you to lend a helping hand to those around you, to help those traveling alongside us on our journey to the promised land that Dr. King envisioned for us. Whether it be advocating for a cause you care about, talking to a friend who's been going through a rough patch, or giving someone the smallest of compliments. You have a voice, whether it be spoken, written, performed, or any other way that you prefer. That voice is the most powerful tool you have and can bring about change you would not believe. And there will be times, like Dr. King, where you will plant a seed and be unable to see it grow and sprout into its beautiful final form. But you can be at peace knowing you did your part in helping us work towards a better future. Okay. That's the end of that. Thank you all for listening to that. Now,